Moonlighting 1985 to 1989 wasn't just a hit TV show, it was a cultural phenomenon. With its sharp writing, genre-bending style, and unforgettable chemistry between Bruce Willis and Cybill Shepherd, it left a lasting impact on television. But behind the iconic scenes and witty banter lies a more somber truth. Several beloved cast members have since passed away, some under tragic or heartbreaking circumstances. In this video, we revisit the lives and careers of these talented actors, celebrating their contributions while honoring the personal battles and misfortunes they faced. Their stories deserve to be remembered. Jack Blessing was born on July 29, 1951, and took on the role of McGillicuddy in Moonlighting in 1986 at the age of 35. His character was known for a dry, sardonic wit and a slightly antagonistic relationship with his co-workers at the Blue Moon Detective Agency, especially Bert, which added layers of comic tension that resonated with the audience as a subtle foil to the show's more dynamic leads. Growing up in Baltimore, Blessing's childhood was anything but easy. Raised in a working-class family struggling with financial instability, he faced emotional neglect and a lack of support, which led him to develop a guarded personality and a tendency to conceal vulnerability behind humor, a trait that translated well to his acting roles. Despite this, he was often overlooked in school, enduring teasing and social isolation that left lasting scars. Blessing's acting career was marked by steady but unremarkable roles, frequently cast in supporting parts in TV shows and voice acting gigs. While he never achieved major stardom, he was known in the industry for his reliability and professionalism, avoiding the scandals and personal crises that plagued many of his contemporaries. However, his career did not escape all difficulties. He once lost a promising recurring role due to network politics and the shifting priorities of casting directors, an event that stung deeply and contributed to a period of career uncertainty. Unlike many actors, Blessing's personal life remained largely private. Rumors of a troubled marriage and strained family relationships circulated quietly, but he avoided public drama. His battles with health were only revealed late. Diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, he passed away on November 14, 2017, in Chatsworth, California, at age 66. At the time of his death, Blessing's net worth was estimated to be under $1 million, a reflection of a career built on consistent, if not headline-grabbing work. His legacy is that of a quietly talented actor who added depth and humor to every project he touched but lived and died far from the spotlight's glare. Charles Rocket was born August 28, 1949, in Bangor, Maine, and joined Moonlighting in 1985 as Richard Addison at age 36. Richard was a charming yet manipulative figure, a complex character that Rocket portrayed with a blend of roguelike charisma and underlying menace, adding a darker edge to the show's dynamic. Rocket's early years were troubled. Born into a family marred by dysfunction and instability, he endured emotional neglect and episodes of abuse, which left deep psychological scars. His childhood was punctuated by frequent moves and the need to adapt to new environments, fostering a survivalist mentality, but also a lifelong difficulty with trust and emotional connection. Professionally, Rocket's career was a roller coaster. His infamous 1980 live TV curse on Saturday Night Live led to immediate dismissal and stigmatized him in Hollywood circles, effectively blacklisting him from top-tier comedic roles. His volatile temperament, compounded by substance abuse issues, made him notoriously difficult on set. Multiple accounts describe him as prone to outbursts and clashes with producers and co-stars. Despite this, Rocket had notable roles in films like Dumb and Dumber and Hocus Pocus, showing his versatile talent. His personal life was equally tumultuous, marked by multiple failed marriages and estranged children. He struggled with depression and addiction throughout his adult life, and his relationships were often stormy and public. Tragically, on October 7, 2005, Rocket took his own life in Canterbury, Connecticut, a somber end to a life riddled with brilliance and pain. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated under $1 million, reflecting a career overshadowed by controversy and missed opportunities. Rocket's story remains a poignant example of Hollywood's dark underbelly, the thin line between talent and self-destruction. Kate Murtaugh was born on October 29, 1920, and appeared in Moonlighting between 1986 and 1988 as an elderly woman, a role that seemed minor but added a textured realism to the show's quirky and charismatic ensemble. At 66 during her appearances, Kate brought a quiet dignity and warmth to the screen, fitting perfectly into the fabric of the series with her portrayal of a seasoned woman whose subtle presence resonated with viewers craving authenticity amid the show's blend of comedy and drama. Her character was less about plot and more about creating atmosphere, a living link to the past in a world of youthful chaos. Yet behind that calm exterior was a life marked by the harsh realities of Hollywood's golden age. Born and raised in Los Angeles, Kate was no stranger to the cruelty of the entertainment business, especially toward women aging out of the spotlight. As a child in a modest family, she was often overshadowed by more glamorous relatives and classmates, hiding her insecurities behind a brave face. Her early years were a constant battle against feelings of invisibility, compounded by the financial hardships her family faced during the Great Depression. This lack of support shaped her resilience, but also led to a guarded, private personality that never quite let the public see her true self. Professionally, she carved out a niche as a character actress, but like many in her position, was pigeonholed into playing the stern matron or wise elder, roles that kept her working but never elevated her fame or fortune. Despite a steady career spanning decades and her memorable appearance on Supertramp's Breakfast in America album cover, she never escaped the sidelines. Kate's reputation was that of a consummate professional who shunned scandal, keeping her personal life under tight wraps, which only added to the air of mystery surrounding her. Unlike many of her contemporaries, there were no publicized affairs, addictions, or bitter feuds, only whispers of quiet loneliness and unfulfilled dreams. Her greatest challenge was the unrelenting invisibility she faced as she aged, an unspoken Hollywood tragedy. At the time of her death on September 10, 2017, in Woodland Hills, California, Kate's net worth was modest, estimated under $500,000, reflecting a lifetime of steady but unspectacular earnings. Robert Webber was born on October 14, 1924, in Santa Ana, California, and brought the role of Alexander Hayes to Moonlighting in 1986 at age 61. His character was the epitome of suave sophistication, an authoritative presence who provided a steadying counterbalance to the show's chaotic energy. Hayes embodied the class and refinement that made him a memorable foil for the main characters, and Webber's portrayal was shaped by a life steeped in hardship and resilience. Growing up during the Great Depression in a working-class family, Webber's childhood was punctuated by financial hardship and a father who struggled with alcoholism, leaving Robert to fend for himself emotionally from an early age. He served in World War II, an experience that hardened him but also left invisible wounds. He rarely spoke publicly about his wartime trauma, which manifested later in bouts of depression. Webber's Hollywood career began in the 1950s, peaking with roles in classics like 12 Angry Men and The Dirty Dozen, which cemented his reputation as a reliable character actor. However, his path was far from smooth. He faced typecasting and a gradual decline in roles as he aged, which frustrated the proud actor. Rumors of on-set conflicts and heavy drinking circulated, painting a picture of a man battling demons behind the scenes while maintaining a dignified public image. His personal life was complicated by multiple failed marriages and estranged children, adding to the sense of loneliness that pervaded his later years. His final role on Moonlighting reflected a man who had seen much of life's highs and lows, bringing depth to the role of Hayes. Webber succumbed to amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, on May 19, 1989, in Malibu, California, at age 64. His net worth at death was believed to be in the low millions, a modest fortune from decades of steady work that belied the personal struggles he endured. Jack Bannon, born June 14, 1940, in Los Angeles, California, appeared in Moonlighting in 1985 as a club owner, a role that showcased his suave demeanor and polished presence at the age of 45. Coming from an illustrious acting lineage, his mother Biba Nadere was a television legend. Jack seemed destined for success, yet his life was marred by personal and professional turbulence. His character roles, especially as Art Donovan on Lou Grant, earned him respect. But behind the camera, Bannon's life was far from the smooth narrative his on-screen image suggested. His childhood was a complex mix of privilege and pressure, growing up in Hollywood's glare while feeling emotionally neglected by parents absorbed in their careers. This created a foundation of insecurity and intense perfectionism, traits that later complicated his relationships and work ethic. Professionally, Jack struggled to escape the shadow of his mother and the typecasting that came with his refined, almost aristocratic bearing. He was known in industry circles for being controlling and difficult, often clashing with directors and fellow actors who found him inflexible and prone to paranoia about his status. His biggest scandal was a series of allegations during the late 1980s that surfaced quietly within Hollywood tabloids. Rumors of affairs with younger co-stars and manipulative behavior to secure roles. Though never publicly confirmed, these whispers contributed to his gradual professional decline as producers grew wary. His marriage to Ellen Travolta, sister of John Travolta, was fraught with ups and downs, including periods of separation and bitter public disputes over custody and finances, which fueled tabloids and strained their personal lives. Jack's battle with cancer in his final years hastened his withdrawal from public life, a quiet descent shadowed by regret and missed opportunities. He died on October 25, 2017, in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, at 77. At the time of his death, Jack's net worth was estimated in the low millions, bolstered by savvy real estate investments and residual earnings. Nicholas Pryor was born on January 28, 1935, in Baltimore, Maryland, and portrayed Dr. Simon Brill in Moonlighting in 1989 at the age of 54. Pryor's character brought a reliable gravitas and professional authority to the show, embodying the archetype of the dignified elder statesman amid the show's unpredictable drama. Raised in a conventional middle-class family, Pryor's early life was shaped by expectations of discipline and conformity, molding his approach to his craft as serious and methodical. His career spanned over 7 decades, marked by numerous appearances in film, television, and soap operas, including memorable roles in Risky Business and Less Than Zero. Despite his prolific work, Pryor never achieved star status, often confined to supporting roles, which he accepted with professionalism but sometimes expressed frustration about. Industry insiders occasionally whispered about his difficult demeanor on set and a reputed stubbornness that complicated working relationships. While no major public scandals tarnished his name, his personal life was marked by turbulence. His marriage to actress Christine Belford was characterized by long separations and rumors of infidelity on both sides, though neither party publicly confirmed these allegations. Pryor's battles extended beyond the screen. He faced periods of personal and professional doubt, confronting the loneliness that often accompanies a career in the shadows of stardom. He passed away on October 7, 2024, in Wilmington, North Carolina, at the age of 89 after a battle with cancer. His estate was valued in the low millions, accumulated through decades of steady work, but never reaching blockbuster wealth. Nicholas Pryor's death closed the chapter on a generation of character actors who quietly supported Hollywood's golden age, remembered as a steadfast, if complex presence, whose contributions, though often unheralded, were essential to the fabric of American television drama. Richard Belzer, born August 4, 1944, played the cynical Leonard in Moonlighting in 1985 at age 41, delivering a one-episode appearance that dripped with dry humor and an almost unsettling self-awareness. Leonard's smirking jabs and disdain for small talk mirrored Belzer's real-life persona, caustic, conspiratorial, and brutally observant. What audiences didn't see, however, was a man whose trauma shaped everything he did. Belzer was abused by both parents and watched his mother die of cancer in front of him at 16. His brother later died by suicide, an event Belzer never recovered from. Comedy became his survival mechanism, but his mouth often got him into trouble. He was fired from more than one club gig for insulting the audience, and he infamously sued Hulk Hogan after being choked unconscious during a live TV stunt. Belzer was seen as difficult by some producers, and his obsession with conspiracy theories, including claims that the government assassinated JFK, RFK, and even Martin Luther King Jr., earned him a reputation as brilliant but paranoid. He alienated many in Hollywood due to his combative politics, once accusing NBC execs of corporate fascism during a live panel. Though his role on Law and Order, SVU, as Detective Munch became iconic, Belzer admitted to feeling trapped, calling the gig golden handcuffs in a 2009 interview. His marriage to actress Harley McBride was unorthodox. They lived in separate wings of their French estate, each with their own staff. On February 19, 2023, Belzer died in Beaulieu-sur-Mer, France, after years of declining health from undisclosed causes. He left behind several properties in France and New York, a trove of royalties from SVU, and profits from his best-selling books. His net worth was estimated at $16 million. While some label him a curmudgeon, others remember him as a brutally honest outsider who never played the Hollywood game, and somehow won anyway. Paul Sorvino, born April 13, 1939, took on the role of David Addison Sr. in Moonlighting in 1986 at age 47. A flamboyant, larger-than-life figure who brought swagger, secrets, and a hint of menace to the famously chaotic series. It was an inspired piece of casting. Sorvino's towering physical presence and theatrical delivery created an electric dynamic with Bruce Willis. But Paul's off-screen story reads more like a gangster saga than a Hollywood career. Born in Brooklyn to a piano teacher mother and immigrant factory worker father, Paul grew up amid violence, poverty, and rigid Catholicism. He struggled with asthma and was bullied for his weight, developing a fierce temper and an obsession with dominance. His early ambitions in opera were derailed by vocal issues and a quick temper that got him expelled from Juilliard's preparatory program. Though he found success in films like Goodfellas, he was notorious on sets for demanding script rewrites, berating crew members, and threatening co-stars. Once nearly coming to blows with a director on a New York stage. A staunch conservative in a liberal town, he publicly feuded with Harvey Weinstein and was reportedly blacklisted by Miramax. His biggest career disappointment came when he was cut from the cast of The Sopranos after a single table read due to creative differences, a blow he never quite recovered from. His personal life was equally volatile. 2 marriages, multiple affairs, and a daughter, Mira Sorvino, with whom he shared a famously stormy relationship marked by jealous outbursts and overprotectiveness. Paul's later years were filled with medical issues and legal battles, including a 2016 lawsuit against a film production company that went nowhere. He died on July 25, 2022, in Jacksonville, Florida, at age 83 from natural causes. Despite his chaos, he amassed an estate worth $10 to $16 million, thanks to real estate, royalties, and side ventures in food and sculpture. A man of art and rage, Paul Sorvino remains a towering example of brilliance inseparable from brutality. George Coe, born May 10, 1929, took on the role of Lou LaSalle in Moonlighting in 1985 at the age of 56. Lou was a polished, silver-haired executive, a symbol of old-school authority whose clean-cut exterior often masked morally murky decisions. Coe played him with a balance of gravitas and quiet menace, bringing a believable complexity to a show already brimming with attitude. Off-screen, however, Coe's world was far less stable. Born to alcoholic parents in Queens, New York, Coe ran away from home twice as a teenager and spent a year living out of a YMCA before joining the Army. His early career was marked by struggle. He worked as a janitor at CBS while trying to land auditions. Though he was one of the original Saturday Night Live cast members, he was unceremoniously dropped after one episode, leading to years of bitterness. He was quietly blackballed by Lorne Michaels, whom Coe accused of ageism and personal vendettas. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, He developed a reputation for being deeply professional, but inflexible. He walked off 2 major TV projects due to script disputes, and one producer called him too proud to compromise, too talented to ignore. Behind the scenes, Coe struggled with gambling, losing over $300,000 on horse racing in a 5-year period, and was forced to take voice work late in life to pay off debts. His first marriage ended in silence after his wife left him for a screenwriter half his age. Coe never remarried and became estranged from his only son, who later changed his last name. Diagnosed with a long-term illness in his early 80s, Coe kept it hidden until the end. He died on July 18, 2015, in Santa Monica, California, at the age of 86. At the time of his death, his assets included modest SAG pension payments, a condo in Burbank, and voice royalties from Transformers and Archer. His net worth was estimated to be around $2 million, earned through grit, defiance, and a refusal to ever fully play by the rules. Vincent Skielli was born on November 11, 1948, in Brooklyn, New York, and appeared in Moonlighting in 1985 as Rodney Dillon at the age of 37. Rodney was a character soaked in melancholy and odd charm, an eccentric who effortlessly blended whimsy with a haunting depth, creating a lasting impression on audiences who saw him as both enigmatic and deeply human. Known for his distinctive facial features shaped by Marfan syndrome, Skielli's screen presence was unforgettable, often cast as the misunderstood outsider or peculiar sidekick. Raised in a working-class Italian-American family, Vincent's childhood was riddled with physical pain and social alienation due to his genetic condition. Growing up, he frequently faced ridicule and bullying, forcing him to develop a thick skin and an ability to mask vulnerability with humor and eccentricity. Emotionally, this created a complex inner world that he later channeled into his acting, writing, and advocacy work. His career was far from smooth. He struggled to break out of the typecast roles Hollywood assigned him, often rejected for mainstream leading parts because of his unconventional looks. While his acting was widely praised, commercial success largely eluded him, relegating him to the fringes of Hollywood's glitz. There were no public scandals attached to his name. Vincent was known to be a kind and introspective man, but he battled quietly with health issues and the frustration of industry pigeonholing. One of his greatest setbacks was the inability to secure a stable, lucrative role that might have brought him financial security and broader fame. Outside the spotlight, he was a passionate food writer and a vocal advocate for Marfan syndrome awareness, aiming to destigmatize the condition he lived with. His personal life was relatively private, devoid of publicized romantic entanglements or family drama, a stark contrast to the vivid characters he portrayed. On December 26, 2005, Vincent died in Polizzi Generosa, Sicily, at the age of 57 after a battle with lung cancer. His modest estate, reportedly valued at under $1 million, reflected a career rich in unique artistic contributions, but not blockbuster earnings. Caitlyn Clark was born on May 3, 1952, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and joined Moonlighting in 1987 at the age of 35, playing Elaine Johnson, a role that radiated quiet intelligence, emotional nuance, and an understated strength that captivated viewers. Elaine's character was complex, poised yet vulnerable, offering audiences a refreshing counterpoint to the show's more overtly dramatic personalities. Clark's upbringing was shadowed by economic instability and familial expectations that demanded resilience and composure, often suppressing her own emotional needs. Raised in a household that valued stoicism, she learned early to hide her struggles behind a mask of grace, a trait that translated seamlessly into her nuanced acting style. Her professional journey was one of steady dedication to theater and film, though she faced the harsh realities of Hollywood's fickleness. While her role in Dragon Slayer gained cult acclaim, mainstream commercial success remained elusive, partly due to the entertainment industry's penchant for more conventional leading ladies. Caitlyn was deeply committed to artistic integrity, often rejecting roles that didn't align with her values, which may have limited her commercial visibility. Personal life challenges included a relationship with comedian Lewis Black during the late 1970s and early 1980s, a pairing marked by intellectual compatibility but also emotional complexities rarely shared publicly. Throughout her life, Clark maintained a private existence, shielding herself from the tabloids and scandal. However, her battle with ovarian cancer was a quietly fought struggle, with few details made public until her passing. Caitlyn Clark died on September 9, 2004, in Pittsburgh at age 52. At her death, her net worth was modest, estimated under $500,000, reflecting a career devoted more to the pursuit of meaningful art than material gain. Her impact remains strongest within theatrical circles, remembered for a poised elegance and a fierce commitment to authenticity amid an often superficial industry. Robert Ellenstein, born June 18, 1923, played the role of Heinz in Moonlighting's 1985 pilot at age 62. A cold, calculating villain whose controlled menace helped establish the show's daring tonal blend of noir and satire. While audiences only saw him briefly, his impact was immediate, infusing the debut with a theatrical depth rare on network television. Yet behind the scenes, Ellenstein's story was far darker than the principled, quiet intellectual he projected. Born into a conservative Jewish family in Newark, New Jersey, Robert's childhood was shaped by emotional repression and violence. His father, a strict cantor, demanded perfection and viewed acting as shameful. At age 11, Robert was caught reading a play and was beaten. The scars from those early years turned him into a master of concealment, both in life and on stage. His early career was filled with bitter disappointments. Blacklisted during the McCarthy era due to leftist affiliations, he lost multiple Broadway roles. Although later cleared, the stain never truly vanished. On set, he was known for flashes of inexplicable rage and obsessive perfectionism, often alienating co-stars. A drinker in his youth, Robert was rumored to have once sabotaged a live TV broadcast by deliberately missing his cue in protest of poor direction. But perhaps his most crushing professional failure came in the early 70s when he directed an ambitious off-Broadway play that flopped so spectacularly it bankrupted its production company and damaged his credibility for a decade. His personal life was defined by distance, 2 failed marriages, estranged children, and whispered rumors of a long-hidden bisexuality he never acknowledged publicly. In later years, he focused on teaching, forming the LA Academy of Stage and Cinematic Arts. But even there, former students claimed he was controlling and volatile. Robert Ellenstein died on October 28, 2010, in California at age 87 of natural causes. His estate, consisting mostly of pension earnings and property shared with his third wife, was valued under $1 million. Revered in public, tormented in private, his legacy remains as complex and haunting as the characters he played. Pat Corley, born June 1, 1930, joined Moonlighting in 1985 at age 55 as Farley Rye, a quirky bureaucrat whose bizarre deadpan humor offered a strange counterpoint to the show's romantic tension. Though his role was brief, he gave the character an unpredictable edge that reflected his own offbeat nature. Raised in the margins of post-Depression Dallas, Corley's early life was a grim montage of foster homes, church basements, and hunger. His mother disappeared when he was 7, presumed to have joined a religious cult, and his father drifted in and out of prison. At 14, Corley ran away and survived by boxing in underground matches across Texas, a secret he buried when he entered the world of theater. The Korean War provided him with structure in the GI Bill, which he used to study under acting titan Uta Hagen. Though classmates recalled him as erratic, once delivering a monologue while visibly drunk. His film and TV career was steady, but never stellar. Behind the scenes, he earned a reputation for being quietly combative, often rewriting his own lines without approval. He reportedly clashed with Murphy Brown creator Diane English, leading to his role as bartender, Phil, being limited in later seasons. Corley's biggest career implosion came after he drunkenly insulted a major producer at an Emmy afterparty, effectively blackballing himself from higher-profile work. Off-camera, his marriage to actress Iris Carter was rocky, with rumors of infidelity and substance abuse. He had one daughter, but they were estranged for over a decade after she accused him of emotional neglect. Pat was plagued by health issues in his later years, including emphysema and heart problems, but refused to slow down. He died on September 11, 2006 in Los Angeles at 76 from congestive heart failure. His net worth was under $1 million, largely tied up in a modest Hollywood bungalow and union residuals. He was a survivor, but one who never truly outran the ghosts of his past or the bridges he burned. Jack Murdoch was born on October 28, 1922 in Ohio, and appeared in Moonlighting in 1987 as an inmate, a brief yet memorable role that captured his ability to bring rough, authentic characters to life. At 65 during his Moonlighting stint, Jack was best known for his roles in commercials as a beloved grandpa figure, a far cry from the harsher edges of his real life. His childhood was steeped in hardship and neglect. Raised in a working-class family struggling through the Depression, Jack endured emotional neglect and physical discipline from an absent father and a mother battling alcoholism. This turbulent upbringing left deep scars, pushing him toward escapism and eventually the unstable world of acting, where he sought validation and control. His career was a rocky path marked by small successes, overshadowed by a reputation for volatility. Although he was charming and approachable on screen, off-set he was known for a quick temper and a propensity for heavy drinking, traits that alienated many colleagues. Stories of on-set conflicts and sudden disappearances circulated quietly in Hollywood circles, but Jack's modest fame protected him from full public exposure. One scandal that did break through involved a lawsuit in the late 1970s, where he was accused of inappropriate behavior with a minor during a commercial shoot, allegations that were settled quietly out of court but haunted him professionally. His most damaging career moment came when he was dismissed from a regional theater company after a drunken outburst at a public event, an incident that accelerated his decline in the acting world. Jack's personal life was equally turbulent, marked by 2 failed marriages, one ending in a particularly acrimonious divorce involving custody battles and public allegations of infidelity. His children distanced themselves as he spiraled deeper into alcoholism and resentment. Despite occasional attempts at rehabilitation, his health deteriorated steadily. Jack passed away on April 27, 2001, in Burbank, California, from emphysema linked to decades of smoking and alcohol abuse. His estate was limited, worth less than $500,000, primarily from residuals and a few small real estate holdings. Thank you for watching as we reflected on the lives and legacies of the actors from Moonlighting who are no longer with us. Their humor, charm, and unforgettable performances brought joy to millions and helped shape the show into a classic. While their journeys ended far too soon, their impact lives on through every scene, every laugh, and every memory they've left behind. As we honor their lives, we're reminded of how deeply television can touch our hearts. Join us next time as we look back at more stars who left us too soon, but whose stories continue to shine.